Hello, welcome to the Man to Man podcast. Quick introduction. For the time being, I'll remain anonymous. If I carry it up, keep doing it. I don't think that'll always be the case, but for now, for the time being, just so I can get used to being open on the mic, publicly, I guess. The purpose is, initially for this, is for my own accountability. I know there's a lot of things that I'm struggling with that I need to address. And whilst my problems can seem very personal to me, I know full well that there's a lot of other men out there who are struggling. I see it walking around, I see it on the people's faces. So this is a way for me to process my own struggles, and then hopefully on the side of that, A, help myself, and B, if that helps anyone, brilliant. But that's not the reason. The reason is just so I can verbalise and come to terms with some of the things that I am struggling with, and then by presenting them in a format where I kind of have to address them, really. Now, this won't be polished, won't be a script, won't be anything like that. It'll just be me covering a different subject every day or every couple of days. And that's the process there. This is the first episode, obviously. This is the start, this is the truth, this is my truth. So to give you a bit of background, I am in my 40s. I've struggled with motivation, depression, self-belief, self-identity, I guess, relationships, fatherhood, and somewhat lost in many regards. I have faced and dealt with suicide before, but I know I have this image in my head of things, of how I should be, or what I'm aiming for, or what a good man looks like. And then I guess the whole purpose of this is trying to align the daily routine, or kind of chip away at the struggles that you face each day, in order to align your current self each day with this ideal, what you've got. So kind of that's the weight that I carry every day. Some days I feel great and amazing. In some ways I have a hell of a lot to show and be grateful for. But in other ways, there is a lot of struggles there, and there is a lot of things to kind of overcome, conquer and achieve. So that is why this podcast is coming about. It's just a way to verbalise that. And I guess by verbalising it myself, I can deal with it a lot better. Because I'm like many other men out there, I struggle to open up. Feel a bit lonely in many senses. Although I've got friends, I kind of shut myself off, don't open up, don't talk about things, which kind of makes life feel incredibly lonely and isolated. I believe as a man you need to, how can I put this, be a strength for certain people. So whether that's your partner, your children, stuff like that. I am of that mentality. So I do kind of lock myself away and hide a lot of the struggles or the issues off. And whilst that's beneficial in some ways, it causes a lot of problems. So this is my avenue I guess, or an attempt at an avenue to get a lot of that shit out and trying to formulate it, or like I say, verbalize it in a way that I can begin to understand it better and begin to understand myself a bit better. This is my effort of getting things out in the open, talking about things. And like I say, where it goes from there, I don't know. But initially, that's the idea. So, bit of backstory. Like I say, I'm in my 40s. Growing up, I had a very difficult childhood. My parents were absolutely amazing. No issues, no troubles with them. My dad had his struggles mentally. There was a bit of struggle in the household between mum and dad, but that's like any other family, you know. I can't fault my family whatsoever. They've been amazing. My struggles kind of came about where being in school, even from primary school, it was rough. Constantly in fights, constantly bullying. Yeah, it was bad. And then obviously you deal with that for many years. By the time I'd left secondary school, that was 10 years of just hell every day, I guess. And I think that's left a lasting imprint of things that I've not dealt with fully. I'm a father to one amazing daughter. I'm also in a relationship currently with the lady that's got 3 kids herself. As I mentioned, I struggle with my mental health sometimes. Some days I feel great. A lot of days I just feel shit, foggy, struggle to get out of bed. Which leads to procrastination, which leads to business struggles and so forth. Where the I'm not enough kind of voice began, I guess it's from my childhood. I have sought counselling a little bit, which has helped somewhat, but there's still a lot of things that need addressing. And like I say, I know I'm not alone in that. There's definitely a lot of things missing in society. There's a lot of disparity, is it the word I'm looking for? There's a lot of men hated in society, I guess. Belittling. There's a lot of men that kind of just don't know where they are, or where they're placed, or where they should be. There's a lot of men that have just been grown up without any father figures. Now, that's not to say women don't have the struggles. Of course they do. You know, this isn't a podcast to shit on women or anything like that. I firmly believe men and women should work together. And when they do, it's a beautiful thing. But this is a podcast for men. This is a podcast for me to work out my position as a man in society, in my life, in my family, yeah. And this will be, hopefully, a journey for myself. And then if anyone gains any benefit of that, brilliant. As a father, I had to fight to be in my daughter's life. It's not been easy. And as I mentioned, I am 45. Kind of feel like time's slipping away a little bit, and kind of feel that I've spent a lot of years making promises to myself and not really pursuing that. Full of ideas, full of initial intent, but that leads off, or that slopes off due to depression, procrastination, and just struggles, and a lot of self-doubt. So, as I mentioned, there's a lot of negative dialogue, the kind of what's the point thoughts, suicidal ideation, not in a graphic way. I have tried suicide before. I am not. It's not something that I'm going to try again. I'm fair to say, but that doesn't mean that doesn't cross my mind a hell of a lot. Kind of, what's the point mentality, and that's a battle in itself sometimes. And that's kind of what's in my head usually, a lot of the time anyway. I'm still here. And deep down, I kind of know there's more. That I can be more, and I know that there's a lot of work to be done. The triggers and patterns for me are procrastination, and that comes from a lot of self-doubt, a lot of self-belief, or a lack of self-belief. There's a very low level of self-worth at times. Kind of the loop of shame and guilt that myself and I know many other men kind of feel. Financial pressures and kind of failed expectations pile on one another. That leads to kind of relationship struggles if you're in a relationship. Being unable to deal with things that would normally be easy to deal with in a relationship makes it difficult to not only manage your own expectations but manage your partner's expectations, lead a family, and deal with the day-to-day struggles of any family it kind of deals with. So that's why I'm starting this podcast. I need a place to speak. I want to help other men who feel like I do. And I know full well there's a fuck ton more. As I said, you walk down the streets, you can see it on people's faces. You only need to look at the drinking situation here in the UK, and I know it's bad elsewhere. The drug situation. The suicide situation in men, the amount of men that have to just walk away from relationships that have fought through heavily to try and be in their daughters' or sons' lives and not succeeded. And as I said, this is not a place to shit on women, because I know there's some men out there that are just dicks. Hell, we've all been a dick from time to time, but I'm on about, just not nice people. That happens on male and female side. This is a place for men, for me, to open up about my struggles as a man. And invite other men to kind of face those same problems as well. Not from above, not from a look at me, I'm better than anyone, but as a side-by-side position. So, what do I hope that will come from this? Personal growth, healing, clarity, a pursuit of betterness, I guess. Betterness, a better situation for myself, obviously, but for my daughter, for my family, for my friends. Now, I'm a strong believer that you fix things close to you, and by close I mean internally, initially, and then tiny little things around you. the whole world becomes a better place. Because you're better, you're good, those around you are good, and it has a knock-on effect. And that's something that I understand, but that's something also that I am struggling to implement. So that is my pursuit. That is where this podcast will be going. That is what I'll be utilising it for, talking every day or every other day or however often I do this. Kind of finding my voice and helping others to find theirs, really. So, welcome to Man to Man. That is an intro to what this podcast is about. Like I say, I'll be doing it anonymous for the short term, for the time being, I guess. Just so I can find my feet, just so I can get my thoughts out. And then, who knows, maybe further down the line I'll start advertising it a bit more, putting it out there, and encouraging others to get involved. But for now, we'll see. Thank you.